Jennifer from Flux. In this video, we're going to learn how to crochet this super cute love bug. I made this love bug as an idea for a Valentine, or you can tuck it into someone's backpack or their lunch, and it just brightens someone's day, and it's really happy and fun and very easy to make. I made the bug's body in single crochet stripes. The wings are 1 round hearts, so that gave it the name Love Bug. And then I have some pipe cleaner antenna finished with some little buttons and button eyes as well. So we're going to make this, and you'll see how quickly we can put this together. The finished bug from the antenna to the bottom is about 5 inches, and the wingspan of our little bug is about 3 inches. And this is also a great way to use up some yarn leftovers and really get fun and experimental with color as well. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a 5mm H crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a 6-inch long pipe cleaner. Now I had a long one, a 12-inch pipe cleaner, and just cut it in half for the antenna. And then you'll need some buttons. You'll need 2 for the eyes, and then as an option you can put a button at either end of the curly Q antenna at the top as well if you'd like to do that. And you'll need some fiber fill to stuff your love bug, a hot glue gun, and your yarn. I'm going to be using Red Heart Super Saver, and I just grabbed a bunch of colors that are really fun and bright. So you'll need 3 colors plus white. So I just grabbed a few here, but if you're wondering about the love bugs at the beginning of this video, the 2 pictured, they're in, I used a variety of colors for each one. This is shocking pink, lavender, aqua, spring green, and white if you want to replicate those. But for each one, you'll only need 3 colors plus white. So let's get started. We're going to begin with the body of the bug first. So the body, the bottom part, has a striped bottom, a white top, and then wings. So I'm going to do the striped body in the shocking pink and the lavender for this one. And then we'll do the head part in white, and then I'm going to make some aqua wings. So let's get everything out of the way except for our first color that we'll be using, and that's the shocking pink. Okay, so what we're going to do is work from the bottom all the way up to the top. So to begin, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook. To make a slip knot, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up the loop, and tighten. Next, we're going to chain 4. To make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then in the chain farthest from our hook, we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the ring. So insert the hook into that chain farthest from the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. And then you can kind of open that ring up a little bit. Next, we're going to chain 3. And if you notice this tail here, I'm going to hold that along the edge as I work, and that will weave that in as we go along. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to work 11 double crochets into the center of the ring, and that is going to build the base that the bug will sit on. So to make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert the hook into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. So we're going to make 11 double crochets total. So that was 1. Then we're going to do 2. And then 3. Holding that tail along the edge as we work. Still. 4. Turning. And 5, 6, and if you need to push things over a bit, that's okay too. Next, 7. Whoops, let's redo that again. I seem to have dropped it. Okay, let's do, that was 7. There we go. 8. 9 double crochet, 10 double crochet, and 11 double crochet. So like I mentioned before, this is going to be the base that the bug will sit on, and then we'll build our way up. Okay, so count the third chain up, that topmost chain when we started. Remember that chain 3? Count 1, 2, 3. Insert the hook into that topmost chain. Wrap yarn around hook, bring up a loop. So we're joining with a slip stitch. So bring that loop through the loop already on your hook to close the ring. Okay? So what you want to do is flip it over and see this tail. You can pull that really, really tight and that'll close that up. And then just snip with your scissors. And then we're going to begin round 1. We're going to stick with the pink for this round. We're going to work 2 rounds of each color for the striped sequence of our bug, and then we'll switch to the white towards the top. So we did a round in pink. Let's do our second round in pink. So what we're going to do for round 1 is chain 1, and in this very first stitch here, we're going to work a single crochet. So insert the hook into that very first stitch, wrap yarn around hook, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. That's the single crochet. So we're just going to be working a single crochet in each stitch all the way around, just like that, all the way around our circle here. And as you can see, there's a little bit of curling action happening, and that's a good thing because that's going to be our sides. So you can kind of straighten things out, and you can see how it's kind of working on the upswing already to start working those sides of our bug. Okay, so I'm just working a single crochet all the way around. And we're going to do this all the way around till we get back to the beginning of our round. Okay, and then once you get back to the beginning, join with a slip stitch to close the round. Okay, so we're just going to be repeating round 1 over and over and over till we get to the end of the striped portion. So go ahead and cut the yarn, and then we're going to fasten off because we're going to be switching colors. Because again, we're working 2 rounds of each color. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can, do any really striping sequence you like. So let me grab our next color, which is the lavender. And I like to just cut the yarn and tie the new yarn on. If you have a preferred way of joining, definitely feel free to do that. So go ahead and insert. See that last stitch worked? Insert your hook into that last stitch worked. Sometimes these single crochets can get a little snug, but just kind of work your hook through there. Bring the new yarn through on the hook. And then we're just going to tie the new yarn right on. Now I want to mention that because this project is going to be stuffed with fiberfill, we don't have to weave the ends in. What you're going to do is just kind of tuck them inside of your project like this while you work. And then later when we stuff it, you'll never know they're even there. It's a really easy way to get rid of the tails. You don't have to weave anything in. Now that first one we wove in just because it's the bottom here. Okay, so what you want to do is right where you tied that new yarn, we're going to put our hook right back in there, bring up a loop, and chain 1. And then we're just going to be repeating round 1 just in the new color. And we're going to do that twice. Okay, and then as you go, just kind of tuck these little tails in there and they will be out of your way. Okay, so again, I'm just repeating round 1 by working single crochets in each stitch all the way around. And I'm going to do this 2 times in the purple before switching back to the pink. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of rounds in the pink and purple stripes, and then we'll rejoin and I'll show you how to add the top white head part of the love bug. So we'll rejoin in just a moment. Again, I'm just repeating round 1, just this single crochet round, and then we will rejoin and move on to the next part. Okay, so I worked some more rounds of color. So this is a total of 7 single crochet rounds. So we have the double crochet base that we did already, Then I did one more round of pink, 2 rounds of purple, 2 rounds of pink, 2 rounds of purple. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all together. So now we're getting ready to switch to the white. So I'm just going to close my round with a slip stitch, same thing we've been doing. And then I'm going to cut the yarn and we're ready to do the top part. This is a really fast little project to work up. And it's perfect for all those little yarn odds and ends that you might have. This would look so cute also in rainbow if you have lots of colors. Okay, so I am going to slide this purple and lay it right here just because we're going to be working with white yarn. That way you can see it a little bit easier. So let me grab my ball of white. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 rounds of single crochet on top of this to create kind of the face part, and then we're going to close up the top and it'll make a nice rounded top for the head. Okay, so let's join the new color, and again just tuck these tails right in there because you'll never see them again and you don't have to worry about weaving them in. They'll just stay put right in there. Okay, so locate that last stitch that you worked, insert your hook, and bring the new yarn through. And then you can just tie it right on. Now, you don't have to do white for the top part. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to be using some bright buttons for the eyes, and I thought that the kind of neutral background would really set off the face really nicely. Okay, so once again, tuck those tails in there, and we're just going to be repeating the same round twice with the white. So same thing, chain 1, and then work your single crochet stitches in each stitch all the way around with the white. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll rejoin and I'll show you how to decrease the top part of the head. So go ahead and put 2 rounds of this white in, repeating the same round 1 that we've been doing all the way up the sides. Okay, I'll go ahead and do my 2 rounds and then we'll rejoin for the top. Okay, I worked my 2 rounds of the white, and now we're ready to decrease the top to make like a little rounded top. Okay, so stick with the white. We don't need to switch colors. And what you're going to do is chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet all the way around. I'm sorry, single crochet 2 together. So what you want to do is insert your hook into this first stitch, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next stitch, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. So what we've done essentially is turn 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way around. Insert the hook into the first stitch you come to, insert the hook into the next stitch you come to. We brought up a loop for each one. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops, just like that. Insert the hook into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Insert the hook into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. And as you can see, it's already kind of pinching it in a little bit. Okay, moving right around the top here, insert the hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. Insert the hook into the stitch after that and bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. Let's do that again. Insert the hook into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Insert the hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops, just like that. Okay? So let's keep going and finish that decrease. We're almost at the end. There we are. Okay, so we have 2 more to do. All 3 loops. If you need to kind of wiggle it through, that's okay. Sometimes it can get a little bit snug there at the top. Okay, so next we're going to join, we're back at the beginning, we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round, and then we're going to repeat this one more time, and that will cinch the top of that close. You can already see it's curving inward, okay? Now this round is a little bit fiddly just because it's so tiny and snug now that we've decreased, okay? So do the same thing, single crochet 2 together in all of the remaining stitches at the top, and there should only be a few. Okay, and we're just carefully going around. And again, it's pretty snug up here because the opening of our bug is pretty small. Okay? And then we're at the end, we can join to close with a slip stitch. Okay? So we have a little teeny tiny hole at the top. So what I'm going to do is cut the yarn, but leave, about 12 to 18 inches because we're gonna seam it shut, okay? But we need this tail to be able to seam. Okay, so fasten off, but before we close up the hole, we need to fill our bug with some fiber fill, okay? So we have just enough here to stuff a little bit of fiber fill down into the inside of our bug. Okay, so I grabbed a handful of my fiber fill, and what I'm going to do is work in small pieces just because we have a small opening here, and I'm just going to use it and stuff it down in there. And as a helpful tip, you can use your crochet hook to kind of shove it down to the bottom. You want to shove it down to the bottom and then kind of fill your way up. Now with filling toys and pillows and such with fiber fill, you don't want to understuff it because it's going to make it look kind of sad and kind of saggy, but you don't want to overstuff it either because it will look sort of lumpy and not uniform. So you want to make sure you have just the right amount, and you can kind of stop along the way and straighten things out, okay? I like to kind of roll it, and that'll get everything nice and uniform. You don't want it to be too full. And if you need to remove some, if you find that you've put way too much in there, take the hook end of your crochet hook and just reach in and just sort of scoop some out like that, okay? Now I just pulled mine out. I'm going to put mine back in. But you want to just make sure everything is, you want it to be firm, but not like so full that it's busting at the seams. Also, if you overfill it, it can kind of stretch your stitches out and you can actually see the fiber fill through the holes, okay? So the body of our bug is complete. So let's take our tapestry needle now. Let's just clear all this out. We're going to take our tapestry needle and we're going to thread one end. Now remember, we left a nice tail so we could sew that in. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go around the edges here with our needle and just sew it closed, trying to be nice and neat, keep everything together, and it doesn't really take a whole lot to send everything through there. Okay, so then what we're going to do is I like to make a knot right into the project. So insert your needle and you'll have a loop here with your yarn. So bring the needle through that loop and that essentially makes a knot to fasten off. Okay, just like that. Now what you're going to do, instead of weaving this tail in, we're going to send the needle through the top. So send the needle through the top and then let it exit somewhere else out of your project, like out the side here. See how my needle is coming out of the side? And just pull it through. And you want to give it a tug and pull any lumpiness through, okay? And then what you can do is give your yarn a tug so that it's pulled out a little bit more than you want it to, and snip, and then kind of roll it and it'll disappear, okay? So the body of our bug is finished and it looks very pretty. The next part of our love bug construction is going to be the wings. Now the love bugs got their names because they have heart-shaped wings. So we're going to be making 2 wings to attach to our love bugs. Now I've already made one to kind of show you. Now we're going to make the other one together. And these are really easy hearts. They're done in 1 round. Okay, so what we're going to do is put a slip knot on your hook. Reach in, bring up the loop, and tighten. Okay, then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Join in the farthest chain from the hook with a slip stitch. Same way we began the body of the bug, okay? Next, what we're going to do is work into the center of the ring. And again, we're going to hold that tail along the edge as we work to weave it in as we go along. So next, what we're going to do is work a double crochet into the center of the ring. just like that. Then we're going to work a treble crochet into the center of the ring, and if you're unfamiliar with that, just wrap the yarn around your hook 2 times, insert the hook into the center of the ring. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring it through the next 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. That's a taller stitch. Okay, and then work a double crochet into the center of the ring. And we're going to be putting lots of stitches into the center, so if you need to slide things over a bit, definitely do that throughout. Then we're going to work a slip stitch into the center of the ring. So insert your hook, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Then work another double crochet and another treble crochet. Again, it can get a little bit snug working in here, so slide things over as needed. And another double crochet. Okay, so the top part of our heart is complete. Now let's work the bottom. Okay, so next we're going to work 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And to get that bottom point of our heart, we're going to work a treble crochet once again. You can see our heart is forming. Slide things over as needed, holding that tail still along the edge, and work 3 more single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Next, we're going to join where we began. So see that first stitch right there on the side? Just insert your hook and join with a slip stitch to close the round, okay? Now we can cut our yarn and fasten off, and our second wing is complete. Now, if you want to sew your wings on, leave this tail here and you can use that to sew it on, but I'm going to be hot gluing things onto my love bug. So this tail that we wove in along the edge, just pull really, really tight, and that will help to close that center hole just a bit. And then you can get your tapestry needle. I'm going to be weaving mine in, but if you want to sew yours, you can leave this tail on. And then just go on the back side of the heart and just weave that in. Nice and neat, and then go ahead and trim. And then because this is such a tiny little heart and we put lots of stitches into this ring that we created, you'll have to straighten it out just a bit. So straighten things out, get these tops nice and rounded, get this divot more pronounced, sharpen up the point, and our heart is complete. So then what we'll be doing in just a moment is fastening the wings onto our bug. So what you want to do at this point is we can slide all this off to the side. We want to get all the pieces to our bug. We're going to collect them. So we have our 2 wings, we have the body that's fully finished and stuffed. Then we're going to be putting some button eyes on our bug. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the video, as an option, you can do 2 more buttons for either end of the antenna, and that looks pretty cute. And then your pipe cleaner. So let's do the pipe cleaner first, because what you can do is plug your glue gun in, and while that's heating up, you can work the antenna. Okay, so I got my glue gun heating and I'm ready to do the antenna. Now, this part is pretty easy, and we're going to add just a touch of glue later just to keep it in place. But what you're going to do is grab your pipe cleaner, and this is the top part of our bug. We're going to stick it right through the stitches that we made, okay? So this might be a little bit tricky, but just kind of twist it, and you might have to like really work it through till it comes out onto the other side. Now see how I just went right through like that, okay? Now if you want to crochet chains and make like a little floppy antenna, that would look cute too. Then we're going to grab our crochet hook. We're going to be using the handle to kind of help us with the shape. Now bend them upward a little bit, like this, so they look more antenna-like, and you can kind of straighten out the head. Okay, so just bend those upward, and then you're going to take your crochet hook and we're going to wrap the pipe cleaner around the handle. of our crochet hook just to get a really nice, neat curly Q, okay? So we're going to shape this up a little bit more. It's not going to look like this at the end, but we're just going to wrap our pipe cleaner around our crochet hook. That gives it a really nice, neat antenna. And then you can shape them back into place, okay? And I'm going to be adding buttons. So I want to make sure that the tippy top part of my antenna is nice and flat, okay? So if you want to kind of bend those into a loop, see that? Also, it's also a good idea too, if kids are going to be playing with these, to kind of bend that down so that you don't have this pointy pipe cleaner sticking up too while they're handling the love bug. Okay? So, and if you need to get your, when I bent that, I kind of lost my curly Q a little bit. So if you need to kind of rebend your antenna, definitely feel free to do that and reshape it as needed, okay? So our antennas look very cute. Like I said before, I'm going to be adding some buttons to the top of those. But also, I'm going to slip a little drop of glue back here and just to keep it from moving around too much. Okay, so let's check on our glue gun and then we're going to put it all together. Our glue gun is ready to go. So let me flip this guy to the back. Now where I joined, I made this the back side just because it looks a little nicer on the front. But, you know, it's totally up to you. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue. Please don't use too much because it could really melt your yarn. If you're using acrylic yarn like I am, you could damage the yarn a little bit. So just a little bit goes a long way. Hot glue and yarn adhere really well together, so you don't need a lot at all. Okay, so next we're going to do our wings. So flip your bug over and actually before you flip your bug over, figure out where you want your wings to go. I'm going to go by the stripes because the stripes will help keep them lined up. So this pink stripe here is where I'm going to attach them. So flip your bug over and just put a little bit of glue on the heart. Now I mentioned before you can totally sew these on. I love my glue gun. I use it all the time. So, but if you want to sew them on, definitely feel free to do that as well. Okay, so just put those right on there and just kind of hold them in place so they don't slide while they're drying. And hot glue and yarn work nicely together. Okay, might want to give them a little squeeze. And the wings are on. Next, we're going to do our buttons. So figure out where you want the eyes on your bug. And just get a little bit, actually, let's do the glue on the button because we don't want to make a mess. So get your glue, careful not to burn your fingers. This stuff is so hot. Just get your button right on there and attach it right onto your bug. This is the cutest bug ever. I really love this little bug. Okay, and then put the other little eye on there. Just like that. Let everything kind of cool off a little bit. And then we're going to put our buttons. This definitely looks like a bug that lives in a craft room because of his pipe cleaners and his buttons and his yarn. It's a very crafty looking bug. Okay, and then just put those little buttons. You don't have to do this part, but I just thought they looked really cute. Okay, so our bug is complete, and this bug is so fun and would be such a cute little addition to, you could tuck it in someone's lunch to kind of brighten their day, or just maybe stick it on top of a present. So our love bug is complete, and that's how you make it, and it was very fast and easy, and that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.